Hey kids, this is Aaron from the podcast that wouldn't die, and Kevin and I use Zencastr. You think you're better than us, that you're using something else? You're wrong. Zencastr's the place to be. Who are you to deny it?
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code DIEHARD and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time for you to share your story.
Only a fool will give up a chance for a 30% discount.
Mr. Angel, my client, Monsieur Louis Satcar.
Do you by chance remember the name Johnny Favorite? My interest is only in finding out if he's alive or if he's dead. You want me to check it out?
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me as always is Aaron.
Hey!
This week on the podcast, we're discussing the horror classic Angel Heart with Mickey Rourke, Robert De Niro, and shockingly, Lisa Bonet. Good grief. It's dude, all right.
And you know what? She has
Please.
not aged. I think she has sold her soul.
She's
The
vampire.
voodoo scene here took effect.
Each week on the podcast that wouldn't die, we discuss guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the horror and sci-fi genres with a comedic twist. Aaron, what's the latest with you?
Do you like what I'm wearing? And for those people who are just on the podcast, you don't know. Do you like what I'm wearing?
I don't know what you're referring. Okay, your infinity scarf? Is that what you're talking? Is that what that is?
This is a hiking gaiter, thank you. It was a dress-up day. It was supposed to be, I'm a tourist, so I dressed up like I was going on a hike with a camera.
Do you often go on a lot of hikes?
There was a time when I would hike and I had gear. I've got 3 pairs of boots. I have
Really?
sticks.
Look at you.
I've got a hydration pack.
Like a camel pack or whatever those things are called? Interesting.
Yeah.
But no longer? Yeah. Those days are over?
About 5 years ago.
Now it's a Halloween costume, is what you're saying?
Now it's just dress-up day at school.
Sweet Jesus.
I don't like hiking. I like taking a walk. There's something wrong with just having a walk.
I feel, and I've talked to my kids about this, you have to reach a certain age before you truly appreciate just going on a walk or going on a hike, just being involved. Like blue skies, how beautiful. I can hear the birds singing. When you're young, you don't give a good goddamn about any of that shit.
Nah. Our family, we were tortured. There was a lot of child abuse in my house, and it all involved camping. It all involved every holiday camping, which I think is child abuse.
Well, it's funny.
If you guys want to arrest a couple of like mid 80-year-olds, I can give you an address.
Show up, kick in the door. Well, it's basically like when you are a young parent, you're like, I want to have these memories. I want to go on these adventures. I want to do these things. But
is that what it is? Or I have 7 children and I can't afford to put them all on.
I cannot goddamn afford shit. So we will go camping. Maybe we won't even rent the spot. We'll just find an old spot in the woods and hope no one comes around the corner. There's the scary
just a rest stop off of Interstate 5 somewhere.
And hope Jeremiah Johnson doesn't show up with a cleaver or something. Yes.
Is he often cruising I-5? Is that right? Jeremiah Johnson?
I don't know what his... I'm not his biographer.
As long as it's not the Hitcher cruising by.
It could be. But I was telling somebody, now my kids are at the age where if they're like, I don't want to go hiking, I'm like, stay the hell home then. I'm going to go. You were old enough to fend for your damn self. Now I'm going to go do the fun things without your complaints.
You can say, you got to drive with me. Now get out of the car. I'm locking the car and I'm taking the keys. So you guys can just sit here and wait for, human traffickers to come by, or Jeremiah Johnson, or you can go with me and your mother.
Exactly.
You make the call.
Choices. Life is about choices. I was talking, totally off topic. I was talking to my daughter Lucy about Psycho. She'd never seen Psycho. So we sat down to watch it last night. And about 45 minutes in, she's like, where the hell is the Psycho? Right now, it's just Marion Crane driving for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Which I get it. It's a slow burn. It's a slow burn. And we haven't done it on the show, but we should do it at some point. And eventually she's like, you know what? F it. I don't care who the Psycho is. And she just left. So
this is the attention span of America.
It is.
We welcome our Chinese overlords.
Pretty much. My attitude is like, you can now find Lucy. If there's an orphanage website, go there now. You will see her on the homepage.
Is she in fact the orphan?
She is in fact the orphan now. So, no, because I was like, this is cool. Watching Psycho with somebody who knows nothing about it. She literally knows nothing about it. She doesn't know the name Norman Bates.
And has
or
the
anything.
attention span of a gnat.
Right. So she'll never know who Norman Bates is.
No.
She stuck around for the murder. I shouldn't say that. She stuck around for the murder, but you think that's the end of the movie or the beginning of the movie? It is the middle of the movie when the Psycho comes out and
she
kills
was like,
Marion
that's
Crane.
enough?
She was
missed all the other stuff?
She said, when's this over? I clicked. I said, there's another 30 minutes. She's like, you know what? I don't care. And then she's got up and left. I said,
what the hell?
You better pack your bags. Pack your bags. You're out of here.
Now I'm calling another government agency, unless Trump has disbanded it, but I'm calling CPS because you did not raise this child right.
I was going to call CPS on myself. Literally, that's how enraged I was.
Take me away. I have to kill my children.
It was an issue. It was an issue. Anyway, that being said, give us your 30-second synopsis on Angel Heart.
It may be Robert De Niro's sexiest role.
I almost did a full-blown spit take on that one. Good Lord. This is the hottest take since Christopher Walken, the thinking lady sex symbol. Good Lord.
Well, that's Cosmopolitan. You'll never see Robert De Niro with such long hair. It's like mid-arm. He's like Fabio. Except especially when he peels an egg.
With those long ass nails. You had to know some shit was going wrong when you see those huge Freddy Krueger nails. Anyway,
Boom.
Go ahead.
Who knew the devil was so manicured? Anyway, it starts off in New York. A private investigator. This is supposed to be like 55, I think.
Something like that.
Private investigators hired to find a missing person, supposedly at some kind of sanatorium, like he's shell shocked after World War II.
Yeah,
and but they wouldn't let him see it. And he owes a debt, so your job is to just find out, is this dude alive or dead? It's just that whoever this dude interviews, they end up dead. So the trail takes you down from New York to New Orleans, which pretty much looked the same in this movie. Shockingly enough. And bad shit is going down. There's voodoo. There's a lot of death. There's people parboiled. There's Lisa Bonet getting the Bonet. In the role that made her famous and got her fired off of
The Cosby Show.
The Cosby Show. And now looking back at that, I'm like, really, Cosby?
For reals?
For reals. I'm like, that's what she got fired for? But you still got your job and your honorary doctorate of education. Dr. Cosby.
Right. So he didn't go to school for his EDD, is what you're saying?
He's ED, but not EDD. No, it's an honorary. I love these people who go hard with their honorary doctorates.
Oh, 100%.
Dr. Cosby.
That's BS. That's you
Come
put
on.
it up, put the plaque on your wall. Fine, you were honored, but don't go around saying now call me doctor. You didn't do a doctorate to earn that, William Cosby Jr.
I need to get a doctorate. Do they still offer that, like in Rolling Stone magazine or something? Because I will get a $2,500 a year bump up if I'm Dr. Aaron.
Oh, for reals?
Yeah, don't you have a bump up at your work for a master's or a doctorate?
We have for masters. So I'm at the top of the level because I got my master's. But there are teachers who are like teaching middle school who are Dr. So and so, and I'm just like, why? Why would you go get your doctorate? I mean, if you're a professor Professor Xavier, then please go get your doctorate. You know what I'm saying? If you were just teaching sixth graders, why be a doctor when it doesn't pay you anymore? That's a little rant, a little side
We
rant.
have an art teacher, they don't have a doctorate in educational art. So he just went to, what is it, that crazy Freedom University or whatever.
No,
that
here we go.
You know what I'm talking
Liberty
about?
U.
Liberty. He went to Liberty and got his PhD. He's a doctor of divinity. 2,500.
I'm not going to lie. If I went and got my doctorate, I don't care if it's in basket weaving, you're going to call me Dr. Kevin.
That's what I say.
100%. So I don't fault people for that. But you do stretch the bounds of credulity if you're like, well, I didn't really attend any classes. It's more of an honorary thing. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anything else about your synopsis, or can we move on?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did get he has a MA and an EDD from Amherst.
Not honorary?
It doesn't say that according to Wikipedia.
Okay, then you know it's real. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I have to tell people about Angel Heart, the fact that we've actually done this episode on our old podcast or on the YouTube show, the B Movie Club, 1,000 years ago.
I feel like we have discussed this movie at least 50 times.
That is absolutely not true. But okay.
Because we also dig. We also did a live when there was, I can't even remember, there was some live streaming app years ago when we were in Lake Arrowhead, and we did a live takeaway of that.
Oh, yeah.
In the snow, and I was drinking the Lewis Cipher wine from a winery that's here on the Central Coast of California.
Sounds delicious.
It was freaking delicious, and it better be because it was like $70, and it was called Lewis Cipher.
We have seen this movie 1,000 times, I would argue.
Yes.
Is that true? I mean, I didn't see it when it was out. I didn't see it until later. Because honestly, I kind of missed the whole Mickey Rourke thing, if I'm being truthful. You know what I mean? By the time I was actively seeing movies, Mickey Rourke was no more. So
I never saw any of the movies that made him like I've never seen 9.5 Weeks.
I think it's possible I saw it once, but I barely remember it. It's possible I saw it once.
So I think at this point I had only seen him in Rumblefish, Diner. Wasn't he in Diner?
He was in Diner. Yep.
And maybe this.
Well, it's crazy.
Oh no! The tide is opening. Wasn't he in Bar? Who was in Barfly?
He was in Barfly. I think that might have been after this, though.
Right. I mean, he is so compelling, and he has this very vulnerable quality.
He has kind of a baby face, or he
has a baby face.
He had kind of a baby face. Let's be honest. By the time of Angel Heart,
Jesus.
By the time he's Angel Heart, it's already kind of Barfly-y, if I'm being truthful. You know what I mean? This is not... The other thing I was going to say, totally off topic, is I remember I was watching Body Heat. Have you seen that with William Hurt and Kathleen Turner, where it's like kind of the first of the sexy thrillers?
No, I don't think so. I think I heard a podcast about it, but I don't think I've seen it.
So that was like 83 or something.
Isn't it like a redo of like The Postman Rings Twice or something?
So. I think it's something like that.
I think I heard it on like Erotic 80s. I listened to what You Must Remember This.
Yes.
This podcast about Hollywood, which is one of the greatest podcasts in the world. FYI. Besides ours.
But the reason why I mention, besides ours, 100%. But the reason why I mention it is Mickey Rourke has a small role in Body Heat as this guy who was like a former client of William Hurt's lawyer character, like a former criminal who's going to help him, like teach him how to like firebomb a place. Because you haven't seen Body Heat. He's like basically William Hurt is seduced by the femme fatale, Kathleen Turner. But let's be honest, there wasn't that much seducing. He like 5 seconds in, he's already like, murder? Let's do it. I'm in. Let's kill some people and I'll burn down a building. It's like she's like, whoa, pump the brakes. Like literally, he's in from Jump Street. But anyway, Mickey Rourke.
It's like a neo-noir.
It's 100% a neo-noir. So Mickey Rourke had a small role in that. And you could see Mickey Rourke in like Diner, you could see why the ladies liked Mickey. You could see why there was a quality that women were responding to. He looks rough. He looks rough in this one, if I'm being honest.
I feel like it's a rough character. It's a rough character. But he's got the chops. It just, I don't know what he was going through after this. Because again, I always mention this. We all saw The Wrestler. He's an amazing actor. He's an amazing actor. That is one of the most upsetting movies I've seen. It is very upsetting. I mean, let's face it, Barfly was very upsetting.
That I will never see. Is that who's the woman in it? It's Mickey Rourke, and it is.
I've seen it once. I may have to revisit
it's
it.
Bonnie and Clyde in Network. Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway.
God, am I crazy, or does she seem older than him?
She is older than him.
Okay.
Well, and the characters, if you watch, he's like, I'm 28, and she's like, I'm 45. There's like if you watch the video or whatever, the trailer. So she is older, and she's meant to be. Now, the thing about the poor story, we're talking about whatever. If you have never chimed in to our podcast before, it is stream of consciousness. We stagger from topic to topic like a drunken sailor. But Faye Dunaway, what I was going to say is, she became a celebrity with Bonnie and Clyde like in the late 60s, right?
Yeah.
By the 80s, she was basically used up as far as Hollywood was concerned.
I think Mommy Dearest, while it is a classic,
right,
it kind of harpooned her career.
Well, it was like,
so over the top. It was so camp.
It was that, but it was also that Hollywood thing of, oh, you're 40, formerly beautiful lady. Sorry, I guess you're going to go back to waiting tables now. We have no further use with you. So,
meanwhile, the 60-year-old actors continue on with their 20-year-old co-stars.
100%. Anywho, that's neither here nor there. Let's reel it back into Angel Heart. Why don't we jump right into the highlights? Aaron, why don't you start us off?
All I'm going to talk about is exactly what I talked about. Anything with De Niro, his most triumphant role. And it's like Willy Wonka, as the show progresses, his hair gets crazier and crazier. Till the end, it is out of the ponytail and flowing down his shoulders as he eats the soul and or eggs. And oh my God. You'll never peel an egg the same way.
I mean, the fact that his character is Louis Cypher, I mean, that's pretty heavy-handed. Well, that's how Mickey Rourke keeps calling him. Mr. Cyphiers. Mr. Cyphiers. And he's like, it's Cyphers. And he's like, okay, Cyphers. He still messes it up. And he's just like,
I feel like he was just trying to irritate Mr. De Niro.
I think you're right. They did not get along in this.
I imagine. I think I'm just making up a story, but in my mind, De Niro is in the school of it's called acting, whereas our beloved Mickey Rourke is probably in the method.
Flip it.
Shut your mouth.
Yes. Robert De Niro is a hardcore method actor and would stay in character 100% of the time. And Mickey would try to talk to him, and De Niro was like, nope, we're not having. Yes. That's what it was. It's a thing.
Interesting.
And
All right.
the amnesty
Who knew
still
it?
exists today. They're still like if you ask Mickey Rourke about Robert De Niro, he's like, hey, F that guy. I don't know what
If
accent I'm doing.
they go, fuck off. Man.
He does. That's his attitude. That's his attitude. But Robert De Niro in this, he is so compelling because it's really very understated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything he does. And they say they talked about it. He said he was basically doing a Martin Scorsese impression as Louis Cypher.
Funny.
So that's
I like that.
Which I don't know how Martin Scorsese feels about that. Because it is that kind
the voice was definitely not Scorsese, but interesting. I love everything about it. I mean, Scorsese is correcting him in church not to swear.
Yes.
He's like,
we're in church. We're in church.
We're in church.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, yeah, totally. No, it's interesting because it's been years since I saw this. So I didn't remember all the individual beats, but I knew the spoiler alert. I knew the twist at the end that Harry Angel was really Johnny Favorite, the guy he was supposed to be looking for all this time.
Right.
So I knew that, but I didn't remember like specifically how we get from point A to point B. So Louis Cypher, which is, I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. Were audiences sitting in there when it's finally revealed, well, I'm actually Lucifer? Was there actually like people going, oh my God, I didn't see that one coming?
Well, I saw it at a VHS, so I don't know what audiences were doing.
But you know what I mean?
I
don't remember. I remember people talking about this movie even before I saw it. So I knew Louis Cypher is Lucifer. I knew, but it's not that far of a jump. You know what I mean? It's pretty clear that's what
I remember watching this movie and I'm just going with it, and it was giving me the creeps. It's the cinematography is over the top. It's fantastic.
Yep.
It is such dark, it is moody, it is violent, it is terrifying.
Right.
And at the end I was like, what?
Oh, so it was a Shyamalan twist for you. You were like jumping up and going, I can't believe it.
It was pre-Shyamalan. I didn't put any of that shit together. I was not trying to solve a puzzle. I was just in.
Okay, that's fair. I just think, because this is a private detective, right? Robert De Niro has hired this kind of low-rent detective to track down this guy who owes him a debt, Johnny Favorite, who was a former crooner before World War II. And that's basically the movie, him trying to track this down.
He sold his soul to the devil for fame, and he and a bunch of his voodoo witchcraft people figured they could cheat the devil. His girlfriend was from from Louisiana, who's a practitioner of the dark arts, and apparently they all were, and they kind of came up with a plan.
Well, the only way we find that out is because there's a full-fledged 15-minute exposition dump that occurs at the end of the movie. Because there are definitely times we're following Mickey go from place to place, interview person to person. And there are times I'm like, how did he find this person? How does he know who this person is? How does he, you know what I mean? It wasn't always very clear how he figured out who. Because he goes to the hospital where Johnny Favorite was supposed to be, like you said, the sanitarium. And Johnny was shipped out 12 years ago. People came and picked him up. And the kind of corrupt doctor has been pretending to be taking care of Johnny, essentially.
Right.
Because he came back, like you said, came back from World War II, was shell-shocked, had massive facial injuries, and they had to do all sorts of shit. So...
But he had already done the swap.
Well, that's the reveal later. Right. We don't know what the story is. The grand reveal is that Johnny Favorite, like you said, was involved with like some voodoo shit from his guitar player and voodoo shit from his girlfriend and the girlfriend's father. They all came up with this plan because he sold his soul, like you said, for fame. So now he's a fairly famous person, crooner. I don't know, who is he? Dean Martin or somebody? Anyway.
Oh no, Sinatra, right?
but that's the thing. Harold Angel's like, I don't know, I've never heard of him. Should I have heard of him? Does that mean something?
Well, everyone else seemed to have heard of him.
And the songs. Oh, you know that song.
And he's like, huh.
Interesting. So essentially what the plan was is they basically kidnapped a soldier from Time Central Station. This is the final reveal of the movie with Mickey Rourke going, "Who's the boy? Who's the boy?" They kidnap some soldier. They perform some voodoo shit on him. They cut out his heart, and Johnny Favorite eats the heart because he's already sold his soul, but now he's trying to basically welch the devil. He's trying to skip out without paying the bill, essentially.
Right.
And this is how he's going to do it. He's going to steal this other guy's soul. And I guess his appearance changes to resemble the person. Is that right?
Right. It's
So-
like it's like his soul is jumped into the body of the other person.
Right. It's some kind of, I guess it's like a body swap thing. They're kind of fuzzy on these details.
It's probably better they didn't try to explain too much.
Wow, shockingly. But then they said, the guy's like, but then you got drafted. I thought you were already a soldier, right? He was drafted to World War II or something. So he goes to,
Oh, no.
right. He goes
That's
to
true.
World War II. Shit goes down because it's World War II, and he comes back shell-shocked, and now he's in the sanitarium. And
Right.
the girlfriend and her dad go rescue him from the sanitarium. And according to what they say, they take him to Grand Central, not Grand Central, sorry, what am I trying to say? New York City, downtown,
Yeah.
Times
And
Square.
Just turn him loose.
Takes him to Times Square and just turns him loose, which makes absolutely no sense.
Because it was supposed to jog his memory. So this is my question.
Please.
Are there two people inside of Mr. Angel?
What do you mean?
Is there the original person plus the soul of Johnny Favorite living inside the one body?
Essentially what happens after he gets shell-shocked and they deliver him to Times Square, he starts thinking he's Harold Angel,
Right.
who was the guy they kidnapped. And he starts
Right.
he says something along the lines of, like, he has Harold Angel's memories. And like, he doesn't realize he's Johnny Favorite anymore. He thinks he's Harold Angel. So, which is strange, because again, they just cut him loose, and now 12 years later, what the f did he do? Did he go to the YMCA and, get a cot and then...
If he has the memories, so he would have gone and lived the life of the other dude. But is he still inside there? Because at the end, it's discovered that he's the one doing all the killing.
Right. But that's the other thing. So he goes earlier in the movie, when we don't know any of this stuff, he goes to talk to the guitar player who played with Johnny Favorite. That guy winds up dead in a horrifying way. He goes to talk to Charlotte Rampling, his ex-girlfriend, and she dies in a horrifying way.
Yes.
And
and so does her father, and so does his daughter. And
Right. And then it's kind of, they do kind of those flashbacks where it's like, oh, you were the one who shot the doctor. Oh, you were the one who murdered all these people. Now, Robert De Niro says, with my guidance, of course. He made some kind of statement like he was also kind of guiding him in those murders. If you've never seen this movie, you're listening to this going, what in the hell are they talking about? Because there's a lot going on in Angel Heart.
And in the end, it's revealed that who he is,
right?
And in fact, he's the one committing all the murders. Like, he'll interview you, and then like part of his memory kicks out. And because you see him interviewing the people, they seem to be alive. He walks out the door.
Right.
When in reality, he interviews the people, then he tortures and murders them, and then he walks out.
Right. And it's in a variety of kind of vile and disgusting ways, honestly.
Well, when they killed the girlfriend's father, he's in the other room, and he's like, wait, what's that? And he goes in, and there is Daddy in a pot of boiling gumbo, and he kind of pulls him out, and he's all cooked. So that means he would have pushed him down, gone and sat down.
Yes.
Snapped out of it, and went back in and checked it out again.
Correct.
So you think it's more of a possession and not Johnny Favorite getting rid of witnesses?
I think that Robert De Niro's character was kind of forcing him to do these things. would be my guess. Now, it's not fully revealed because if we take Mickey Rourke at face value, which seems strange, he seemingly is like, who's trying to frame me? Like, that's kind of his attitude. It's like somebody's trying to pin these murders on me. I interview
Right.
them and then they get killed. What up with that?
Right.
Okay. Now, later, Lisa Bonet is murdered in another disgusting way. But that doesn't seem to be Mickey Rourke. That seemed to be Robert De Niro did that. Because Robert De Niro picked up the gun and picked up the dog tags and then bailed. And then 5 minutes later, she's wearing the dog tags and the gun is
In her hoo-ha.
in her hoo-ha.
But they had that weird and bizarre sex adventure where he is trying to murder her,
Yes.
and blood seems to be pouring from everywhere in the room.
Correct. So you think that's kind
She
of...
wakes up and she's crying in a mess, and the next morning she's like taking a bath. Hey, what's up?
Right, then she's fine again. It seems to be like that's our little bit of foreshadowing, right? That he's clearly, something's going on with him. You know what I mean? Something's going on with the private investigator because that is, it's like they're having passionate love, but smash cut to she's screaming and his hands around her throat. They kept like slicing back and forth. So you knew something was going on with Harold Angel. Something was going on.
Right.
So
it's nice that he had sex with his daughter, though. So
that was a whole nother reveal. Yes. Shocking.
So much in this movie.
Because, and that was the other thing that was strange. Maybe you can explain this to me. He had his ex-girlfriend, Charlotte Rampling, Madame Zora, but he also had another girlfriend, Evangeline Proudfoot, who was a voodoo woman, who's dead, who's already dead, but her daughter, there's Lisa Bonet. And then there's another child, like, a little African-American child with blonde hair kind of thing going down. So you had to start thinking clearly that Lisa Bonet is his daughter. Right. I mean, I went into this already knowing that Mickey Rourke was Johnny Favorite. Harold Angel was
I hope
Johnny
so,
Favorite.
because I know for a fact you've seen this movie
I've
before.
seen this before. So when you see those, you're kind of like, okay, so she is the daughter of Johnny Favorite, who is Harold Angel. Shit's crazy. So then later, when they start knocking the boots, you're kind of like, whoa. This is why she was kicked off freaking Cosby Show. And I think, honestly, we said this before, I think she wanted to leave the Cosby Show.
Oh no, this is her get me out of my contract.
100%. Because for those of you guys who are younger than 50, Cosby Show was one of the biggest comedies, sitcoms of the 80s.
A fine family show.
It was a fine family show.
A lovely African-American family. Mom's a lawyer, dad's a doctor. It's the opposite of Good Times, where everybody's scratching and surviving. They were living high on the hog, not down around the trotters.
Right. So it was like, here's an example of a successful African-American family that's kind of like, it can be a role model for African-Americans, where there wasn't enough representation, so on and so forth. And she was like, initially, I think she was the eldest daughter, but then they added another daughter on the show who was like coming back from college.
No, I feel like there was an older daughter in the beginning times.
No, they changed it because they wanted to match Bill Cosby's actual number of kids, is what happened. But
and the number of rapes, is that also what they wanted to match?
Could be. So, but then they set up Lisa Bonet to get her own spinoff called A Different World.
Right.
So she was on the Cosby Show. Then they're like, you're playing the same character. Now it's this character going to college, and that's A Different World.
And quite frankly, she got bounced off of that so fast that, quite frankly, I forgot she was ever on it because it continued on.
Yes.
It continued on just fine without her.
Well, and Marissa Tomei was on the first season of Different World as well. It was like...
Oh, yeah. Sinbad was on there.
Sinbad was in there later. He was in there later. But yeah, so she, for one reason or another, Lisa Bonet was basically like, I don't want to do this show anymore. So I'm going to do Angel Heart, where
Yeah.
it's literally like explicit sex. I mean, explicit is, where it's like, it's R-rated.
You didn't really see any vag,
No.
but she was in graphic sex scenes, and you did see boobs aplenty.
Boobs aplenty, and again, and blood, like they're having blood splattered over them. It's a
lot
whole
of naked grinding, lot of Mickey Rourke ass.
100%. Zoom in, and then of course the grand reveal is and incest. Let's just sprinkle that on top. Oh yes, and incest as well.
A sousson of incest on top.
You like our gumbo, right? 100%. So she was fired off the show. I don't know. I was talking to my daughter Lucy about this, where it's like kind of how
you watch this with your daughter also.
No, I did not watch this with her, but I was talking to her about Happy Days. How Happy Days, the first season and a half, Richie had an older brother named Chuck.
Was he killed in Vietnam?
He could be. This is the 50s, so Korea is what you're talking about.
Korea.
No. Basically, he was originally on the show. Chuck Cunningham was supposed to be the mentor character for Richie. But of course, after a few episodes, they're like, well, we've already got the Fonz. If we've got the Fonz being, if you don't know who the Fonz is, you're like, what are these words you're saying? They make no sense. But the Fonz was kind of, the guy in the black leather jacket, the cool kid in town, whatever. If you've already got that character, why do we even need Chuck? So after a season and a half, Chuck just disappears and is never referred to again. Right? Literally, I think the last season, Howard is talking about his 2 kids. Not his third, no more Chuck. Sorry, Chuck. It's a sad situation.
Sorry, Chuck. We're on a budget.
So I'm wondering if that, I honestly don't remember, but is that what happened with the Cosby Show? Did suddenly that day didn't have 3 kids or 4 kids anymore? Now they only had 3? Is that what happened? I don't know.
She's away at college. I should just never mentioned again.
Right. And even on A Different World, like you said, it was like suddenly the kind of supporting characters, although Marissa Tomei was only on the first season as well, suddenly the supporting characters were the characters. And you had Dwayne Wayne and Sinbad and the rest of the gang hanging out.
Dude, Dwayne Wayne had these glasses, these round glasses, and the bottom lens were regular reading glasses, and there'd be this flip up like sunglasses.
Yep.
And I went and I bought a pair for myself, I think like at whatever the 80s version of Claire's Boutique.
Right.
It gave me the worst headache. So it was double magnification and I didn't wear glasses. But it was a thing.
It's a thing. Kadeem Hardison played Dwayne Wayne. And not Dwayne Wade, which is a basketball player. Dwayne Wayne. I didn't name him. But like you said, Different World was on for at least five or 6 seasons.
Yeah,
I mean, it was very
popular. It was very popular.
Good stuff. Who else was it? Jasmine Guy was on that show.
Yeah,
remember her?
Everybody was in that show at one point.
It was great. It was a good show.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, so that her, and honestly, it's one of those things where he's kind of flirting with her when he first meets her. And then she just shows up at his room like she's ready to roll. She's like, let's do this. And she says, I'm 17. She said,
it's 1955, and this is Louisiana. Dude, I went to college with a girl who got married. I forget if she was from Alabama. Got married at 14. Got pregnant at 14, and in whatever hillbilly state she was from, with parental permission, and because she's pregnant, she was able to get married. 14.
That's insane. That's insane. I thought we were talking about...
She was in my teaching program. She and that husband not still together.
Shocking. I hope you're sitting down. No, I thought you were going to say it was like the 70s and the 80s where every song was about love with an underage girl. Right? She's sexy and 17, or she's just 16 years old.
Leave her alone. I like to think that they're remembering their high school days, like I'm 18, But
Unclear.
yeah. And then you see the unfortunate music videos, and you're like, "Oh shit!"
There was a TikTok
It was a different
reel
time, really, Kevin.
from that Benny Mardona's song. If I could fly, I'll take you up. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you watch
Yeah.
the video for that, it is freaking it is hilarious in how terrifying it is. Because it is literally
And
like
I love that song. I
Right.
love that song so much.
It
But
is.
until you see the visuals, you really
Oh,
realize what
it's-
you're singing along to. And he is so old and creepy compared to this girl
Right.
who looks like she's 12 and simple.
Yes. So she's in pigtails and this mustachioed, like it's like John Oates peeping through the window going, "How you doing, little girl?" It's terrifying. It is freaking terrifying. It's awful.
God.
It's awful.
Who was
Anyway.
in charge of that shoot? No one said this is a bad look.
This
Or
is
they're like-
bad.
It was like, this guy's such a dick that we're gonna go full board on this and let him pick up the pieces.
It's like it doesn't make any sense. The shit that it was always like music, like people did. It's like, get it together. You know this isn't right. It was not legal back in '75 at least in California. In Alabama,
California.
anything goes. I guess is what I'm saying. Anyway,
Well, there's
that's
a
not-
1,000 songs. Go away, little girl.
Get out of my mind.
My love for you is way out of line. Better run, girl. I can't control myself, and this is gonna be a rape.
It's at least statutory, is all I'm saying.
Right.
Anyway,
It's
that's not here nor
terrifying.
there. Let's reel it back in. Any other thoughts about Angel Heart you want to share? Good grief.
Oh my God!
'Cause we're 40 minutes in.
Did you notice that it has certain qualities of Indiana Jones?
What do you mean?
Instead of the great fear of snakes mentioned 1,000 times, it's 1,000 mentions of a fear of chickens.
He hits that constantly, and there's never any grand reveal why he hates chickens.
And I was
No,
looking
it's
at
like-
these chickens because I had chickens at one point.
Okay.
They're all over the place. I swear these chickens were all staked out so he could run around them. They were like all these non-moving chickens. It was I thought that was weird. But
You're
yeah,
right. Speaking of Indiana
I wrote
Jones.
down chickens more than once.
Oh, no question. Speaking of Indiana Jones, if you go back and watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's a scene where Indiana Jones meets Marion, who's working at a bar in Nepal, and she talks about, I was a child, I was in love. Evidently, in the original script, she was supposed to have been like 13.
16 years old, leave her alone.
Yes.
They say.
George
She's
Lucas,
just-
that was what he wanted to do, and Spielberg was like, "No, we're not doing that. Are you out of your damn mind?" So they left it kind of fuzzy as to the age difference between Indiana Jones and Marion.
Indiana Jones is all a figment of Spielberg's mind, right? What's the source material?
No, it's made up. Yeah, it's all made up.
Yeah. Okay.
George
okay.
Lucas, yes. Steven
wrote it?
Steven Spielberg wanted to do a James Bond movie. He had
Right.
always wanted to direct those kind of movies. And George Lucas said, "Forget James Bond. I've got this original script that you should do instead." And that was Indiana
George
Jones.
Lucas wrote it.
Yes.
The original Raiders is the best. And Marion is so kick-ass.
She is.
She is so great. And I don't know what ever happened to her. She just fell off a cliff or something.
Her name
But
was
she
Karen
was-
Allen.
Karen Allen was so amazing in that. She was so perfect.
She was in Animal House.
Yes.
She was in Scrooged with Bill Murray a
Yes.
few years later. And then she was like in
That's it.
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of Crystal Skull. I'm sure she was
Yeah.
in other things, but those are the only things that jump into my mind. She didn't become a huge star, I'm sad to say.
All right.
Anyway, last thoughts
Another
on
weird
Angel Heart.
thing. No, I got a couple thoughts.
Okay,
another weird thing. I did Google this. It's supposed to be 1955, and oddly enough, we have Mickey Rourke asking people if they had ever seen the Mickey Mouse Club, because
Yes.
Wednesdays or anything could happen. Well, the Mickey Mouse Club didn't start till 1955. That means he was actively watching it as it was on.
As a grizzled alcoholic private detective, right?
He would go
Yes.
to the bar and ask if they could put on the Mickey Mouse Club, please.
You would.
The other cosmic scene is Mickey Rourke goes to whatever weird seaside town.
Yep.
I want to say Coney Island.
It's Coney Island. Coney Island.
Coney Island, to do some research to track down Madame Zorloff or whatever.
Okay.
And he meets a man on the beach who's a circus geek
Yes.
who is nonstop working his dick. He is scratching and picking
Yes.
and lifting and moving. He needs to get to like a special soap and a fine tooth comb because he turns away and Mickey Rourke is talking to the wife. And when he turns back around to talk to him, he's still digging.
He's still digging. He's up
I
to his
was like,
elbow.
And it's shot from below. So the middle of your screen is nothing but this dude's crotch as he's digging.
Yes.
What the hell?
It's an issue in Coney Island, is my understanding. I
Dude.
appreciate he gives Mickey Rourke a crazy like nose shield to protect your
Yes.
nose from the sun.
Which he wears for the rest
For
of
the rest of
movie.
the goddamn, you think he takes it to be polite, but no, he's actually wearing it for the rest of the movie, and it frightens a child who later turns out to be a demon child because as he's getting arrested at the end of the movie, and the cops are like, "You're gonna burn for this, Harry Angel," and he says, "Yes, I will in hell." The little blonde-haired baby points at him and has crazy yellow eyes like it's Rosemary's Baby for no reason. Why is that
For no
baby
reason.
possessed? No one knows
Because
why.
maybe there is no baby. That's little tiny Robert De Niro.
It could be. It could be. Is that it?
I got to talk about the egg one more time.
Please do.
While he's peeling the egg, he's talking about, I think, something about Tibetan beliefs or something about
Right.
the egg and the soul.
Yes.
And as the egg, the soul is in the egg or something as he takes a bite of it. So he is eating the soul of Johnny Favorite.
Well, that's the other thing that's weird about this now that I'm thinking about it. Presumably he sold his soul, so it'll be when he dies, then the devil will get his soul. Presumably.
Well, there was
Now-
this old TV show in the 80s called A Year at the Top. So we don't know how long he sold it for. And what was the point of jumping into somebody's body when you're not famous anymore and you have no memory anymore? You're just not in hell?
Basically, you're not burning, right? But the thing about it, go ahead, Aaron. What are you gonna say?
I was just going to say, but that body has to die at some point.
Right. At some point, you're going, this isn't Faust, where he sold his soul and did good deeds, and then the devil's like, oh, rats. You found the loophole.
Yeah.
Not at all. So Louis Cypher knows that Harry Angel is Johnny Favorite. So
Yeah.
this whole thing, he could have
He's
just
this is just a
Right.
around.
That's
Because the devil's got time for arounds.
That's basically what this is. The whole plot is just devil going, go ahead, go on adventures, go find out who this Johnny Favorite, when he knows all along
Right.
what the
And
story
he's
is.
getting more irritated every time he meets with him.
Right. Have you
You
found
notice that?
anything? No, not really. Well, okay. Need more money? Sweet Jesus. And then at the end, when Lucifer is revealed, you think he's gonna grab him and take him off to hell. He doesn't. He just goes, okay, I guess I'll see you later then. And then he gets arrested for the murder of Lisa Bonet. So I guess he's gonna go to the electric chair and then he'll go to hell. So it's a very convoluted plan of old Scratch, if Nicholas Scratch. So there you go.
So all I can think of is their plan had a certain amount of time, which to me seems like a terrible idea.
Right.
It's a terrible idea.
Selling your soul is never a good idea because presumably, your soul will last forever in hell, whereas you'll get for a short time, you'll get wealth and fame, right? What's that compared
And
to?
then
Now I'm
nothing.
sounding very religious. Now, what is that compared to a lifetime of torment or an eternity of torment? So
How about this? Do
lay
you
it on me.
remember when eBay was kind of starting out and someone put their soul on eBay?
Oh, did they
Is
really?
it
What happened?
Yes, they did. A piece of paper promising their immortal soul to the highest bidder. I believe it got quite pricey, and I think eBay pulled it down.
Who the hell's bidding on somebody's soul is the question. That's wild.
Exactly.
That is
What who's offering and who's buying?
Louis Cypher probably is involved in some
Yeah.
way. Shall we go behind the
Truth
scenes?
truth is stranger than fiction, my friend.
Sad but true.
Tell me about my friend Mickey
Um,
and Sassy Daddy De Niro.
okay, we're behind the scenes. Writer-director Alan Parker claims that Robert De Niro's performance as Louis Cypher was so eerie and realistic that he generally avoided him during his scenes, letting him just direct himself.
Now, Mr. Parker has done a lot of things.
Yes, he's a very successful director. We'll talk about that in a
Yes.
moment.
All right.
This film was the impetus for a feud between Robert De Niro and Mickey Rourke, the first and last time the actors worked together, and neither has many kind words for the other. The feud apparently stems from De Niro refusing to talk to Rourke off camera, feeling this would be detrimental to their scenes together. Rourke apparently took this personally and hasn't been shy about publicly bad-mouthing De Niro since. The bad blood...
Couldn't we just say that sentence? When we're done, we'll go out for drinks or something. We couldn't just have that
Can't do it.
conversation. Aye.
The bad blood has endured for decades, and in 2019, Rourke accused De Niro of blocking him from taking a role in Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. Rourke once said about De Niro, "I don't look up to him no more. I look through him." So there you go.
Ooh. Yikes.
There it is. Very upsetting. Let's see. The line, "How terrible is wisdom when it brings no profit to the wise," was drawn from Sophocles' Oedipus the King. Did you know that one? Let's see. In the novel, this is based upon a novel. I think the novel's called Angel Falling, not Angel Heart.
Okay.
In the novel, the entire story was set in New York City, where in the movie, much of the action of the film occurs in New Orleans.
Right.
So there you go.
I mean, it really doesn't matter where it takes place. Because quite frankly, I couldn't tell from when they moved from New Orleans because it all looked dark, drippy, and wet.
Yeah, 100%. This film avoids the common mistake made in period films that use only props and costumes from that decade. Basically, what this means is, in reality, if people came to 2025, not everything would be from 2025.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I got vintage paintings. You got your grandmother's this. You got this secondhand.
Right.
Yeah.
Not every car is brand new.
Yeah.
So
that's always a thing.
Right.
Every car is brand new in those period pieces.
But so they do this correctly. It explains why, the set dressing looks old. They deliberately tried to make antiques look old, even for the 50s. That was what they were going for. So they did a good job.
Well, and then when you're in New Orleans, you expect it to be like this older kind of French style with doilies. You expect that's a certain look, which is clearly not 1955. Early Mad Men or something. Not everybody has the latest couches and all of that. Yeah.
100%. When producer Alan Marshall first approached Robert De Niro by phone about taking a part in the film, De Niro asked him, "Are you the guy who produced that film Birdie?" When Marshall replied that he was, De Niro promptly hung up on him.
I'm not familiar with Birdie.
I'm not, from 1984. He's not a fan, evidently. Shirley Stoller was originally cast in the role of Izzy's wife. That's the woman who's soaking her varicose veins in the polluted waters off Coney Island. But she quit after almost drowning when she was swept into the ocean by a high wave while filming the scene. She was replaced by her stand-in, but you can still hear her singing the song "I Cried for You," which was Johnny Favorite's big hit. Let's see. The Motion Picture Association of America forced Alan Parker to cut out 10 seconds out of the sex scene between Lisa Bonet and Mickey Rourke in order to avoid an X rating.
Stop right there.
Please.
You need to see Birdie, because guess who's in it?
Who?
Nick Cage, brother.
Oh, I gotta check it out then.
Check it out then. Continue on.
We talked about Lisa Bonet. This is her first film role, and yeah, she she approached Bill Cosby to get his approval, and that he encouraged her to take the role initially. Okay, that's what she says. But other sources report that he was outraged because it clashed with her good girl role on the show.
Oh, jeez,
So,
Louise. Let
good
people be grown up. All grown up.
I agree. I think that's about everything. Let's talk about the cast and crew, shall we?
All right.
Directed by Alan Parker. Sir Alan Parker, actually. You know him from Evita.
Birdie.
He directed
Evita was trash.
He directed Mississippi Burning in 1988.
That was very upsetting.
Angel Heart in 1987 and
Yeah.
Midnight Express in 1978, among other things. Let's see.
Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Angela's Ashes. He did all sorts
The
of stuff.
Commitments.
Yep.
Fame.
Who wanna live
Bugsy
forever?
Malone.
Oh God. I can't. Bugsy Malone. If you don't know what we're talking about, Bugsy Malone is a gangster movie, but it's all with children. With a young Scott Baio and a young Jodie Foster. Good Lord. It's a musical. It's a horror show.
I will
Paul
tell you,
Williams.
I freaking love Pink Floyd, The Wall. I went to breakfast the other day with a couple of my freaks,
Okay.
and we're at like our shishi coffee place, and I'm like, they've been playing nothing but Pink Floyd for the past 30 minutes. I'm like, is it breakfast with the Floyd? Interesting.
It could be. Let's look at the cast. Mickey Rourke played Harry Angel. You know him from such things as Sin City in 2005. The Wrestler. I didn't care for it either. The Wrestler in 2008 playing Randy the Ram Robinson.
Dude, go see it, people. Whether you like wrestling or not, go see it.
It's good, but it's upsetting.
Yeah.
He was in Angel Heart playing Harry Angel, and he was in Iron Man 2 playing Ivan Vanko, where he's like a Russian doing a crazy Russian
He had a brief
accent.
comeback right around the time The Wrestler came out, and now he's disappeared again.
He's disappeared. Robert De Niro played Louis Safiez, as Mickey Rourke called him all the time. You know him from such things as Cape Fear in 1991.
Yep.
He was in Raging Bull in 1980.
Yep.
The Irishman in 2019.
Boo.
The Deer Hunter in 1978.
Never saw it. Always been too afraid.
I mean, they don't even mention it here, the top four, but Midnight Run, one of my favorites. Check it out.
Or wasn't he in The Godfather or something? Or
He
no. He's in my most favorite movie.
He was in Godfather 2, by the way.
No, but I'm thinking Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. I have to be honest with you. I'm not a huge Scorsese fan. Is that shocking? Could be shocking to some people.
I told you in The Departed, I thought Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio were the same person, and that it was if their lives went in two different directions.
I think that's what they're trying to say. 100%.
I did not recognize that they were two different.
Well, that's
people.
upsetting. They do look different, but that's neither here nor there.
I was so confused. But Goodfellas is one of the greatest films ever made. And I also really enjoy Casino. But
I
Goodfellas
do enjoy
was
Goodfellas. I don't enjoy Taxi Driver. I don't enjoy
No.
Raging Bull. So there you go.
Raging Bull was great, but upsetting.
Yeah, they're too upsetting. Lisa Bonet played Epiphany Proudfoot, which Mickey Rourke's character constantly messes up her name, which is always
Yes.
great.
Because he can't speak proper.
She was in Angel Heart in 1987. She was in High Fidelity in
I
2000.
love High Fidelity. I even bought the soundtrack.
She was in,
I love me some John Cusack.
You do. Well, in the book, it's a British book, so it's a British character in the book. So there you go.
I read the book too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Enemy of the she was in Enemy of the State in 1998. That's correct. And she was in 130 episodes as Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Boom. It's a lot.
And she was briefly married to Lenny Kravitz and Jason Momoa. Single again, though.
Single again. Yeah, her daughter is Zoe Kravitz, who's a successful actress these days. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Lenny Kravitz might be one of the most beautiful men on earth. So combine that with Lisa Bonet. They have a beautiful child. No question.
If only she could have had a baby with Jason Momoa, because that would have also been a beautiful pairing.
Yeah, no question. Charlotte Rampling played Margaret Krusemark. You know Charlotte Rampling from
I do.
45 Years in 2015.
I thought you were telling me how old she was. Unfamiliar.
She was in Swimming Pool in 2003.
No, don't know.
She was in Melancholia in 2011.
Didn't see it.
And she was in Dune Part 2 in 2024.
Wait a minute. There has to be something that I've actually seen her in, because I do know her name.
I have to
in the name of God.
This is for goddamn ridiculous, because she's the hardest working woman in show business. She's in a million goddamn things.
You just rattled off a bunch of crap, so you tell me.
Those are the first four. Those are the first.
Oh, she was in Georgie Girl. She was in The Verdict.
Vanishing Point. Scenes deleted. Okay, well that's not helpful.
That's not helpful at all. Do I even know who she is?
Do you even know who she is?
Holy shit.
She was in Orca in 1977 with
Richard
Richard
Harris.
Harris.
See Orca. We have not covered that, by the way.
She was in The
Stardust
Verdict.
Memories. That is, what's his name?
Woody Allen. She's in
Woody
The Verdict
Allen.
with Paul Newman in 1982.
I think I saw DOA.
Yeah. With
she was in Dexter.
Yep. So that's Charlotte Rampling. Do you want to know? I'm looking through this. The guy who plays the guitar, the guitarist that used to play with Johnny Favorite, his character's name was Toot Sweet.
Right.
The actor's name is, I hope you're sitting down, Brownie McGee. Good grief.
I don't think you're born with that name.
I would argue you're probably right.
I feel like that's a name that you picked up along the way.
Let's look at the rating, shall we? On Rotten Tomatoes, Angel Heart currently has 82%.
100%.
The audience gave it
90%.
81.
Who the is this audience? What the hell?
There's 5 top critics. Roger Ebert from the Chicago Sun-Times says,
"Tell me, Robert. Come on, Robert. Talk to me."
Angel Heart is a thriller and a horror movie, but most of all, it's an exuberant exercise in style, in which Parker and his actors have fun taking it to the limit. 3.5 out of 4. Boom!
That
look
seems
at that.
low. But that is a rave review. I mean, everything. If they're not shooting a person, it's deep, long shadows. You got a little German expressionism rocking through there. It is moody as. And then you have there's that one building with the red light coming out of it where it keeps flashing back to that. But then at the end, you find out what was going on in that room. I mean, everything. It was so beautifully done.
Do you know what's funny? So I'm watching the movie and it's like, you'll burn in hell, Angel. And then it cuts to the credits. Credits are rolling, but they keep cutting from the credits to pictures of an elevator going down, down, down. So I'm like, shit, I guess I got to watch the credits. So they keep cutting back and forth and then it just ends. I'm like, what the hell? Don't make me watch the entire credits and then nothing happens at the end. Give me some flames or some shit. Anywho. It is what it is. What is your rating, Aaron?
Dude, I'm giving it 4 out of 4 glorious Mickey Rourke and Robert De Niro scenes. I mean,
4 out of
delicious, both
4.
of them. 4 out of 4.
We usually do 5-point scales. So that's why I'm a little
Oh,
confused.
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
You went from 4 out of 4 to 4 out of
Well,
5.
now that I realize I haven't given anything a 4 in a long time, because even though it's a 5 scale rating, have I ever given anything a 5?
No, I don't think any of us have. 5 is the tippity top. I think it's
Didn't I
something to
give that to
aspire
The Shining? All right. Then I'm
possible.
going to give it a 4.5. You've talked me into it. A 4.5 out of 5.
I'm not trying to talk you into anything.
Big scoop spoonful, Louis Cypher and Johnny Favorite.
I will say this: I am a sucker for kind of a detective movie. I think that's always good fun, where it's somebody on the trail trying to figure out, solve the clues. I told you that oftentimes he seemed to the clues that he found didn't seem to lead where he eventually wound up. So it's not something that you'd be like, oh, if I watch
This
detective
isn't How
movie,
to Host a Murder,
It is
where you're sitting
definitely not.
around and there's secret envelopes that you open, you get one more
Right.
clue.
no, it's not.
Maybe
This
they
is not
don't
Agatha
want
Christie.
you to solve it. Maybe they just wanted him to solve it.
Well, there's a scene where he's yelling at the dad, "You were a devil worshiper." I'm like, where did you find this out? You don't know. How do you know this, Mickey? Anyway, you know what? I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. I think I enjoyed it. I don't think it's a perfect film, so I'm if I can give it just a hair below 4, I would do that, but I'll say 4. It's
And it
enjoyable.
holds up. And it holds up.
100%. Well, it's a period
It's not
piece.
dated at all.
Not at all.
But I mean, there's period pieces that do not hold up. Let's
period
be
piece
cool.
of shit is what you mean,
They're a
right?
piece of shit.
Any last thoughts about Angel Heart?
It's a great film. Go see it.
Check it out. How do we watch
Check
it?
it out.
I tried to watch it on Pluto TV. It was like a nightmare trying to watch it on this thing, because half the time there's no search button. So I'm like, it's a horror story. But anyway,
That's exactly how I watched it, with a 20-minute commercial break. It was watch a bit of the movie, sit on TikTok for 15 minutes, watch a bit more of the movie, a little bit more TikTok, and now 6 hours have passed because of all the effing commercials.
Well, I told you. Go ahead.
Because the only other way to watch it is on the library app, and I'm not sure if my library card lets me log into Hoopla right now.
It's hard to know. So, thank you very much. We are across some of the social media landscape. We're on Blue Sky. We're still on Threads for the moment. We're on Instagram. I guess we're still on TikTok, Aaron.
We are on TikTok. We're racing through TikTok. We are the queen and king of TikTok.
Fair. You can also email us, the podcast that wouldn't die, at
Gmail.
We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the finer podcasts are available. So don't forget to like, share, rate, and review. Won't you?
Won't you please?
We're on YouTube as well. So you may be watching us at this very moment, for goodness sake.
Sure.
Goodness gracious sakes alive. Aaron, what is your social media situation?
My media is getting smaller. Let's see. Last week I got rid of X, since I never check it anyway.
Right.
This week I got rid of LinkedIn, because who the hell cares? I only reactivated my account because I saw on TikTok people were using it as a dating thing. I'm like, how does that even work? You just start sending unsolicited messages to 3+ contacts of your cousin or something. Hey, good looking, what's up? I saw you on LinkedIn.
For the professional shouties.
Yeah. And basically, it was old stalkers are looking me up on that. So that's the end of that. Threads, you're on notice. You are on notice.
I do share information about our podcast on my LinkedIn account.
Well,
much to people's horror, I'm sure. Anyway,
I put a very sexy picture of myself on it, and I noticed I started getting a lot of job offers.
see, there you go.
Yeah,
There you go. Good times.
that's what you need.
As you know, we like to include the thoughts and feelings of our friends across the social media. Honestly, most of these come from TikTok, people responding to our crazy WTF videos.
Yes.
So, responding to our episode of Sinister, we've got Justice Mitchell saying, "This was another good movie with a good twist." Fair.
It's true.
AKA DD1006 says, "Scariest movie ever." I'm not sure I agree with that, but thank you,
No.
DD.
We appreciate your support, but you were wrong.
And I think I said this one before. Mark Rodriguez says, "Yeah, it's scary and creepily. It's scary and creepy. It's still I'm having an episode. Let me try that again.
Is that a mini
Yeah,
stroke?
it's scary and creepy. It's a still picture and the head moved." Thank you for that, Mark Rodriguez.
I sent you some other ones. Oh my God.
I'm not reading 15 of these, Aaron.
But first it was we don't got enough. Now we got too many.
We got too
Our
many.
poor fans.
I'll save
They
these.
suffer for us.
I'll save it for the next episode, Aaron. Thank you very much. Next week, we're going to be discussing the science fiction adventure classic Krull, starring Liam Neeson's in this, Robbie Coltrane, a bunch of British actors you would recognize.
I do love Robbie Coltrane. If you've
Lizette
never seen
Anthony.
the old versions of Cracker, where he's the alcoholic womanizing detective, he is amazing.
Hagrid is who we're talking about, by the way, for God's sakes.
Yes. I
And
think of
Gooby.
him as Cracker.
So, how can you watch Krull? Well, guys, I hate to break
How
it to
do you watch Krull? On some bootleg copy on YouTube?
It's possible. I own it, so I can just watch it
fuck.
whenever I feel like it. But you can watch it on nothing for free that I can see. But you can
What
pay
the hell?
$3.59 on Amazon or Apple TV or Fandango or YouTube. So enjoy.
That's a crime.
It's a classic, damn it. So send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, and questions for Krull, and we may talk about it on the show. So, thank you very much, and be well!
A good day.